What's up, fam? Welcome to another episode of Breaking Impossibilities. We are here with a superstar guest, the Coach Paul. My friend, my brother, an absolutely amazing man. He didn't only survive hell, but he came out of that motherfucker carrying people with water and saving their lives. He is the owner, the CEO, and the founder of A Better You Fitness, and he helps people change lives with fitness online, the greatest online fitness coach that you will ever meet. And we're here. This man was charged with the charge for 27 years of his life and only did 10 years in prison and made it out of there. And that's exactly how he became a better version of himself. And my man, Paul Casey, welcome to the show of Breaking Impossibilities. Brother.
What's up, Justin?
What's happening, man?
Man, it's good to be here, bro.
Absolutely. Let's turn this shit up, huh?
All right, let's do it. First and foremost, right, I'm going to steal your show for a second. So if those of you that are watching the show, right, shout out to you, subscribe on YouTube, right? Check out the shirt, right? This is a special edition shirt I got in my mom's honor, right? It says peace, love, and protein, right? And I got this shirt made because during my 10 years, you know, I was looking at 27 years, but I was actually sentenced to 10. Right. And I did all of it. You know, in California, you know, I was supposed to do 85%, should have done 8.5. I don't know how to behave. I did the whole 10 years. But during most of my prison sentence, my mom would write me letters, write me cards, and she signed them off peace and love, peace and love. Right. And so I've dedicated my life, my business to her in her honor. She passed away 5 years into that 10-year prison sentence. And the reason why I say all this, right, and we'll talk more about my story, of course, but I got a shirt for you, bro.
Okay.
You know, and so I have this special edition shirt, and I brought you one as well, right?
Let's go.
Because you're my brother, and I love you, man.
I
appreciate you.
Man.
And, you know, you've been a pivotal part of my journey.
Let's get it.
Right? So I just wanted to give you that shirt real quick. And I want to just say, like, shout out to Justin here, right? And when I say he's been a pivotal part of my journey, like, I mean it. Like, when I first got out of prison, after doing 10 long years, I didn't have nobody out here. I had a couple people out here that I could reach out to and connect with, right? And I met you at an NA meeting. Right. And I connected with you right off the bat. You were like one of the first guys I hugged, you know, like you gave me a big ass hug and I was like, what's up with this white boy, you know? Yeah. But, you know, like I love that hug. Right.
Yeah,
and we still hug to this day, you know, and I'm hella grateful for you, you know? And so I just wanted to, you know, when I had this opportunity to get on your show, I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get on you. Let's make it happen. We were going back and forth, like trying to figure out each other's calendars, you know, but busy men got things to do, but we're here. So.
Yeah, I'm actually about to be in the doghouse because, you know, I'm here with you. But absolutely, I'm going to pick that over anything in the world, man, because you've been such a phenomenal person and support for me as well, like with fitness, motivation. You always are there dropping dimes, gems, helping me get through the hard times. We might not talk for the longest times, but you always come through with a, hey, bro, what's up? You good? How you doing? Pops passed. Hey. Keep your head up. I'm here for you. Let me know what I can do. So, man, I love you from the bottom of my heart, bro. And this is just the beginning, right? We've shared the stage together. I mean, we've talked to kids together. I mean, we're not only making impact, but we're saving lives. We're doing things that people wish they could be doing and don't do because they don't take action. They don't know how to fucking execute. And you, my guy, are an executor. You don't only create things, but you put them on the table and you fucking execute. You are a entrepreneur. And what I mean by that is you put a whole bunch of shit on your plate. And as the crumbs are falling off, you're catching the crumbs and putting them back on your plate because you have to execute and complete everything and make that shit happen. So for our viewers out there, man, tell us a little bit about Paul Casey and where you come from and what was your childhood like?
Absolutely. So I grew up in a broken home. My mom was on drugs and alcohol. She struggled with her drug addiction. My dad was what they would call a dry drunk, right? So he had stopped using drugs and alcohol before I was born, but he didn't actually do any work on himself. He was an angry man, right? I'm Irish. We're Irish bloodline. So we angry people, right?
Absolutely.
Fighting is in our nature. And so, you know, growing up, my dad was physically and emotionally abusive. I saw at the very young age, the way you deal with things in life is you put your hands on it. You punch doors, you break pots and, or, you know, dishes, you hit things, you hit people, you know.
Break something,
right?
Yeah.
Now we breaking impossibilities, but back then we was breaking all kinds of other things. You know what I'm saying?
That.
And so I grew up in this very volatile household. And eventually my parents split up. And I lived with my dad. He got remarried. We moved out to Arizona for a bit. And eventually we got to a point where I was too old to let him put his hands on me. And finally, I was 15 years old and I stood up to him. And even though I was scared, bro, I was scared, like, because my dad's a big dude, or was a big dude. You know, I was afraid of him my whole life. But I finally stood up to him. I was like, either I'm gonna get my ass kicked or not, but I'm not bowing down no more. And he didn't know how to handle that. So he sent me to go live with my mom in San Jose, right? So I got shipped out to San Jose, me and my little brother, San Jose, California, and we went straight to the hood. Like, my mom had gotten clean by then, but she wasn't making good money. And so here we were, a white family in a very predominantly Hispanic and black neighborhood. And for a very short time, I was the prey until I chose to become the predator. And what I mean by that is because, like, you know, I remember being jumped, beat up, and robbed because I was white, right? And I remember being discriminated against because I was white, because we were the only white family in my neighborhood. My entire apartment complex was Hispanics and blacks, right? And so I remember this, and I know you grew up in Oakland too, so you know you understand this, right?
Same thing.
Right. And so eventually I turned in from being, you know, a prey, and I decided I was going to be a predator, right? And I took all that anger that I had seen my dad show my whole life, and I started using that for my benefit. And I found that it worked because it created power, right? It gave me power. Either people respected me or they feared me, but either way, I was going to get what I want from this world.
Absolutely.
And so I took on this aggressive nature. 15 years old, I started kicking it with gang members, right? I started using drugs. I started selling drugs. I thought it was going to be some kind of drug kingpin. And 15 years old, while under the influence of meth, after not sleeping for 4 or 5 days, I got in a fist fight with my own little brother. And I told him I was going to kill him. And my mom didn't know what to do with that. She called the police on me. And they came, and I was wilding, right? And here I was thinking I was some tough guy, you know, wearing all this gang-related colors and all this stuff, thinking I was someone special. They came, and they took me. They took me out of my household at 15 years old. And so this was the first time I was incarcerated at 15 years old. And I spent 6 months at that point in juvenile hall. I was in juvenile hall for 6 months, and during there, it just got worse. You know, I think one of the biggest things that's wrong with our society is they take troubled youth like I was at 15 years old, and they throw them in cages thinking that's going to fix them. That did not fix me. That made me worse.
Absolutely.
Because here I am with other troubled youth. Here I am, fights daily, right? And here I am still not really fitting in, because you get to jail or juvenile hall or any type of incarceration is very much racially segregated. And at that point in time, being white but not wanting to run with the whites in that incarcerated situation was difficult.
It could be a problem.
It was a problem, right? I mean, I only had one white cellie in juvenile hall. When I saw the swastika on his legs, we got down and he beat my ass. But you know, it is what it is. My stepdad's black. I'm not selling up with a dude with a swastika on his leg. It is what it is, right? And so what ended up happening is I got out of juvenile hall. I went home and I went back to the streets, right? So we go bouncing forth, you know, juvenile hall. I ended up getting taken out of my mom's house, go to a boys' home. I was in a boys' home for like 90 days, went back to juvenile hall, bouncing back and forth. 17 years old, I got kicked out of my third high school for fighting. And I was like, I'm done with school. This ain't the business for me. I dropped out of school at 17. My mom said, if you're not going to go to school, you can't be in my house. So I was homeless at 17. Right, so here I am, 17. I'm a high school dropout. I'm a full-blown tweaker. I'm a gang member, and I'm homeless. And I spent most of 17 wandering the streets. You know, sometimes I had a couch to sleep on. Sometimes I had a park bench to sleep on. You know, San Jose City College saved my life because I slept under the bleachers more times than I'd like to admit. You know, my homie.
Shout out to San Jose College.
Right? My homie set up like a little bed in his carport for me to sleep on nights when I had nowhere to go. You know, it was literally 2 tires with some blankets over the top of it. And then I would go sleep there. And there'd been times like his mom would get up early in the morning to go to work, and she'd come wake me up like, Paul, you okay? You want to go inside and, you know, get something to eat? And so from those couple years of being in and out of juvenile hall, boys' homes, being homeless, being on drugs, like that made me a crazy individual. And when I say crazy, like I earned the nickname Insane. That was my nickname in the streets because I was a psychopath, right? And it only got worse from there. 18 years old, I tried to get clean and sober for the first time. It didn't last long. I lasted about maybe 10 months. But during that 10 months, my first time ever getting clean and sober, I got an apartment. I got a girlfriend. I got a little pit bull. You know, like I had life kind of was going good for a little bit until I started using again, started hustling again, and it went down the drain really, really fast. By 19, I had committed a crime that had me going to prison for the first time. You know, I got raided. I got caught with a bunch of drugs. I got caught with a couple pistols. And I went to prison. I was sentenced to 3 years with halftime. I did 19 months off of that. I got out. And this time when I got out, I really thought I had it figured out. I thought I had it figured out because, marijuana and alcohol wasn't my problem. It was just meth. As long as I don't do meth, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Look, if you're an addict, you cannot use any mind-altering substance unless you're a normie, right? If you're an addict like me, let me rephrase that.
Hey, don't do it. Right? Don't do it.
Hey, if you're an addict like me, I cannot use any mind-altering substance because it will lead me, I'm allergic.
Yeah, facts.
It'll lead me to handcuffs, right?
100%.
And so here I was, I got out of prison. I'm smoking weed, I'm drinking, I got a little girlfriend again, but life is good. I started going to San Jose City College, the same college I used to sleep in the bleachers, right? Yeah. I started going to San Jose City College. I got a little job at Sprint. I'm like, oh, life is good, right?
You got to give it back to the community, right?
Right. Yeah, well, what ended up happening was Sprint wasn't paying me enough.
Yeah.
Shout out to my homie Zune, because that boy's a hustler, right? And, I've been a hustler for, most of my life. I've never been one to sit back and be like, it's okay to be broke. It's okay to not have money in the bank account, right? I think a lot of people are afraid of money, but I believe money is a tool. And if you can learn how to use money as a tool, you can benefit more people. Because guess what? Broke people don't help people. Rich people can help people.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I was sitting here at San Jose City College, going to school, going to Sprint, working this little bullshit job. And I was like, bro, I'm still broke and this ain't working for me.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I ran into someone I went to high school with and,
the homie,
right? He pulled up in a little Jaguar at like 20 years old.
How did you get that?
Yeah, bro. I was like the homie with the Jag. He pulled out the first iPhone 1. This when the iPhone first came out.
The touchscreen?
The first one. I was like, damn, bro. What's you balling, bro? How you do this?
I need one.
Right? How can I live like this, right?
Yeah.
So
Put me on, bro. Put me on.
That's exactly what happened, right? Put me on, bro. And so, I started hustling and selling some weed, right? Because I was just smoking weed and drinking. Like, that's not a big deal. It's just weed.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
None. You buy alcohol from the store.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
It's legal.
Yeah.
Right? Nowadays, you buy weed from the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, so selling weed didn't make me enough money, though.
No.
Right? And then one day I went right into the other homie, right? And he's like, oh, I can put you on for something else, right? So give me a little something. And a little something turned into a lot more something. But see, for me, like I've always been a hustler, but I've also always been my biggest customer, right? And so I can't sell and not use.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And so I only made it 9 months out of prison. Only for 9 months I was free. And that was probably the longest I had been, that was literally the longest I had been free since I was 15 years old. 9 months. And within 9 months, I'd committed a crime that had me looking at 27 years in prison. I was 22 years old looking at 27 years in prison. I was looking at more time in prison than I had been even alive. Man, I thought my life was over.
Yeah.
I thought my life was over, bro.
Take me to right before the crime. What was it that was going through your head that put you in a scenario that almost took you out for almost the rest of your life? Because 27 years in prison, that could be ending your life, right? So for anybody that's out there listening that is facing a similar situation where we got to pick up some tools, we got to pick up a gun, or we got to pick up violence to make this stand and this change in life to like, I'm not no punk, I'm not no bitch, you're going to respect me. What was it going through your mind right before this situation, if you can touch on it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch on the exact thing you just said. I'm not no punk or I'm not no bitch, because that's what it was, right? And so once I started hustling, I also started hanging out with different crowds of people, right? And I went from living at home with my mom and doing okay with my little job at Sprint and going to San Jose City College to running around with gang members, carrying guns, doing dope, selling dope. And I was sleeping around with a bunch of different women, right? Thinking I was some kind of player. Really, they were just using me because I had dope, And one of the women that I was kind of seeing, she had this cousin that I had issues with from the past. But because, I was seeing his cousin, I was like, hey, me and him, we'll be cool. We cool. Until me and her weren't cool. And then now me and him weren't cool. Right?
The cycle.
Right. So what happened leading up to this was I was spiraling out of control. I was no longer just using to stay up late enough to sell to my customers. I was now using just to survive, using because my addiction had taken full control over me. And it got to a point where I was using so much, I was no longer this drug kingpin I thought it was going to be. I was having to rob, steal, and cheat my way just to keep my addiction going.
Yeah.
And so when me and her got into a conflict and broke up, I was angry. I was hurt. You see, because my mom had struggled with drug addiction and wasn't around for me growing up, I had abandonment issues, right? And because my dad used to hit me and beat up on me because he had anger issues, I thought I wasn't worthy of love. So I was chasing love in all these different circles, trying to get love from my homies and trying to get love from all these females. And when someone would turn their back on me, and this is still an area I struggle with today, when I would feel like someone had turned their back on me, I immediately had this drive to bring them down.
Yeah. You got me fucked up.
Yeah. It wasn't just, oh, you don't want to be my friend no more. Oh, you don't want to sleep with me no more. It was like, oh, you turn your back on me. You think you better than me. You got me. Yeah, exactly. You got me fucked up, right? And so literally got in an argument with this girl. She was like, don't ever call me again, blah, 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 blah. I immediately turned the car around and went to look for her cousin. I was like, all right, I'm going to show you who I am, right? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who that I think I am? I'm this tough, badass motherfucker. No, I'm not really that tough, though. I can be, but I don't want to be. And so I go find this.
Now.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
I can be, but I don't want to be. Right?
Back then you were.
Oh, yeah. And so I go to find the cousin. I figure I'm going to let my pain, right? Because back then I didn't know how to deal with pain. Today I'm learning how to deal with pain, but back then I didn't know how to deal with pain. The way I dealt with pain is I put it on others. I didn't want to feel it, so you're going to have to feel it.
Come on.
So I went and got in this verbal altercation I went to go find her cousin. He wasn't on his block where he lives, and someone else is on the block who's like mean mugging the car and, growing up in the streets and someone staring at your car like, what the fuck you looking at, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get out the car and this dude's like, we got exchanged words and I wanted to fight him. He didn't want to fight me. I'm like, that's cool. I go to get back in my car and he goes, yeah, bitch, that's what I thought. I was raised in an era where you call another man a bitch. We got to get busy.
Absolutely.
No ifs or ands or buts about it, And so it escalated from there. And I left the situation after, doing what I did. And man, I went home. I went to my other girlfriend's house.
Yeah.
Slept it off. Woke up the next morning with like hella calls from my mom and my little brother. They're like, what the hell did you do last night? Cops raided our house at like 2:00 in the morning looking for me, guns drawn. Basically told my mom that I'm a felon, a parolee at large, armed and dangerous, and they will shoot me if they have to.
What'd you do that night?
So, crazy story. I actually did not commit the crime that I went to prison for that night. And I say that night because I had definitely committed that crime before, right? So that night, luckily I did not have a gun on me. I went and got a verbal altercation with this dude. I wanted to fight him. He didn't want to fight me, even though he was talking tough. So once again, like I said, back in the days and growing up, my anger, my violence is how I would exert power upon people. So I needed to show this man who the bitch was. So I told him, I said, bro, you better lay down on the fucking ground. Lay on the ground. Like, I made him lay on the ground. Then I banged on him, right? I'm not going to say all, that nonsense here on the podcast, but like I told him my gang affiliation. I told him my nickname. Once again, I thought I was a tough guy. I got in a car and drove away. So he went and told the cousin I was looking for, hey, this guy's looking for you. This is his name. This is his gang. And they called the police. To your audience, careful what you're doing on social media. They got me because of my MySpace account.
Not the MySpace.
The MySpace, right? And so they showed the police my MySpace account, and that's how they found me. And then they went and raided my house, right? And so the charges I was given were assault with firearm because he said I had pulled out a shotgun on him, cocked it, and threatened to kill him. So I had assault with the firearm. I had a terrorist threat for threatening to kill him, and then a terrorist threat for threatening to kill the cousin. All of those are strikes in California, and all of those are with gun enhancements because I allegedly had a firearm. Now, that night, I did not have a firearm, but many times before, I had done very similar crimes, if not worse, with guns. And when they raided my house, they found the ammunition for a gun. They just didn't find a gun. So they were able to convict me on that ammunition.
Yeah. Charged you, wanted to give you 27 years. You did 10 years.
Yeah.
A blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Saved your life.
It did.
Share that with us.
Yeah. So they wanted to give me 27 years in prison. The cousin that I had been looking for actually took the stand and recanted his statement and told them that he didn't have no issues with me. And so they dropped one of those strikeable offenses and they dropped the gun enhancement that went with it. Because they didn't have an actual gun, they had to drop another gun enhancement. But because of the ammunition, they were able to keep one of the gun enhancements. Yeah. Because I'm white, even though my gang affiliation is not of a Caucasian group, they dropped my my gang enhancements as well. Because they're like, he doesn't even speak Spanish. How's he, how is he part, like, so they were able to, use that and drop my gang enhancements, which brought me down to 10 years with 2 strikes. Now, I did 6 months in the county jail. So during that 6 months, it was dead time. And then I was sentenced to 10 years with 85%, which means I should have done 9 years. During my prison sentence, I did not behave, so I extended my stay. Now, I slowly started to change during those 10 years. The first change I made was I started going to school. So while I was incarcerated, I started going to school and they had correspondence courses. So it's basically they send you a book, they send you a packet of homework, and then you have to turn it on certain dates and mail it in. No real teacher, no real support, but I sat in my cell for many lockdowns, many late nights, many early mornings on my bunk, writing homework, doing essays, doing math equations, whatever I had to do because I thought that in order to get out and be successful, I needed a college degree. And I just want to put this out here. There is nothing wrong with the college degree, but that was a self-limiting belief that I had for myself because I did not need a college degree to be as successful as I am today.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right? But the problem was I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was going to school or doing homework, working on my education, but I was still participating in criminal activity while I was in there. And so I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and I would get caught for something. It would extend my time, and that's why I ended up doing more than 10 years while I was in there.
Yeah.
One thing that was consistent with me was fitness, right? I've always been into fitness ever since I was 14 years old. Funny story. You can't tell from me today, but when I was 14 years old, I was incredibly skinny. And
I've seen the pictures.
Yes, you've seen the pictures, right? I was so skinny that I had to wrestle with the only girl on the wrestling team. Her boyfriend was also on the wrestling team. And so because of that, him and all the other jocks would bully me, pick on me, throw me in trash cans. And that kind of pushed me towards hanging out with other people at school that weren't going to put up with that stuff, right? And so I started working out at 14 years old. Didn't know what I was doing, but over time I started to learn. So now I'm incarcerated. We're working out on the prison yard. We're working out in the cell. Burpees are an absolute game changer. I tell my clients all the time, they hate burpees. I love burpees. Burpees saved my life. And I will say this over and over and over. They saved my life because if it wasn't for those burpees on that prison yard or in that cell, I wouldn't be here today. And so
we're doing some burpees after this.
For sure. Always.
Absolutely.
Man, even when we did our event, we did burpees on the stage, bro. Yeah. And so what ended up happening while I'm working out is I was like, I don't just want to be fit. See, in prison, you got to be fit for survival.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of people in prison don't have girlfriends. So when they get out, they want to get a girlfriend. And rumor has it, the nicer you look, the easier it is to get a girlfriend. So we're like, we're all going to get hella ripped so we can get out and get girlfriends and all this stuff. But we're also training for survival. But I became obsessed with it. It wasn't just a tool for me to look better. Yeah. I became obsessed with my fitness levels and helping other people get fit as well. I read every book, every magazine I could get my hands on. In fact, the first book that I ever read was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. I read it from front to back multiple times. I had a legal yellow pad. I started doing homework out of it. How can I turn an incline bench press into a type of push-up because we didn't have bench presses? How could I do these different types of pull-ups to develop my lats? And I started learning about it, and I got obsessed. I didn't just want to know about fitness. I wanted to know the science behind it. I wanted to know why it incorporates what muscles and how it's going to help me look better and how it's going to help other people look better. And I went from this very skinny tweaker that I was when I got arrested to being a pretty ripped dude. I started getting tattoos and people were like, oh my God, bro, you're freaking ripped. How can I look like you?
Let's fucking go.
So I started teaching people.
Yeah.
Right? So when people ask me how long I've been a coach, shit, I was a coach for 10 years in prison before I got out and started a business. So we're going on 20 years as a coach, 20 years of helping other people change their bodies, change their way they move in order to see the results they're looking for.
Yeah.
So I became the guy people went to on that prison yard if they wanted to run a faster mile, if they wanted to lose some fat, if they wanted to build some muscle, they wanted to do the first pull-up. In fact, I got a homie that to this day, literally he texted me this morning. I see him at the gym all the time. His name is Shane. He's one of my closest homies, right? He's from Fremont, right? You know, like East Bay area. We were in prison together and I helped him do his first pull-up. I tell people whenever I introduce them to Shane, I'm like, this is my first client. I tell people this is my first client, right?
Yeah.
And so I became obsessed with it. It became a tool for me to become better and better and push my way to become a better human being. And then 5 years into those 10 years, my mom died. Now remember, she was the one writing me, I talked about at the beginning of this podcast, she was writing me letters, signing them off, peace and love, sending me cards, sending me letters. She would come visit me. She sent me packages. She took care of me.
Yeah.
She was my rock. She was my pillar. She was my why.
Shout out, man. Rest in heaven, moms. Rest in paradise. Peace, love, and protein from us and your baby boy. Definitely, man, because I know how much that means to you.
Yeah.
I lost my mom, too, same year. It was 2013, right? Your mom was 2014?
No, she was 5 years in, so it was like 2008, I think.
2008?
2000.
I lost my mom 2013, and I can tell you right now that that absolutely changed my perspective on life. Like there was nothing I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't want to do anymore. I didn't really know even what to do, and I didn't give a damn who got in my way. It was getting destroyed. I was completely in demon mode, where anything that was nice, I touched it and it turned to shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So kind of there was something that happened in prison with you as well. Like you're still suffering. You're still going through drug addiction. You're using in there as you're in prison and being a trainer. Is that right?
Yeah. So I did the math. It was 2013.
I remember.
Yeah. I'm glad you do. I actually don't even, my brain blacks out the day she died.
Yeah. I get it.
You know, like my brother always messages me that day and he's like, bro, how you feeling today? I'm like, oh, I'm good. I just hit the gym. Then he's like, you know, today's the day mom passed. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm still good, but now I'm sad. But so actually, when my mom passed, I was doing really good. This was the first time ever during the 10 years in prison that I was doing some good things. I was an inmate firefighter. Okay, I was fighting fires.
Thank you for your service, man.
Thank you. And I mean, like, we are on the front line of those fires.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, literally flames. We're dropping trees, working hard out there in the mountains to save people's homes, save people's lives. And this is the first time ever of all these years of incarceration that I felt good about myself. I was developing a skill set that I thought I would use when I got out. I thought I was going to be a firefighter and I was going to do all these positive things. But once again, back to me thinking that I could just smoke weed and drink. I was still smoking weed and drinking, but it's a little harder to get in prison, but we still had it, right? I still smoking a little weed, drinking, but not doing nothing hard. And man, I remember this day like it was yesterday. I don't know the exact date. Of course, I keep forgetting it. But man, I remember we were getting ready to go to work because when it's not fire season, we go out and we work and we cut down trees and we hit brush and we work in like different parks. And I was at this fire camp out there by Redding. And I remember they're like, Casey, come down to the office. And my mom was battling cancer during that time.
Yeah.
And I just talked to her a few days before that. And I knew she was like, I knew it was coming close. Man, as soon as they said that shit, Casey come down to the office, I was like, mom's dead.
Yeah.
She's dead. I knew it. And I walked down there and they pulled me in the office. The lieutenant was like, well, Mr. Casey, I just want to let you know that we just got a call from your brother and that your mom passed. And I just broke down. I broke down right there in the office. That is the only time I cried during my 10 years in prison. Right there in that closed office, because you can't cry in prison. You can't show emotion.
No.
That's weakness. Right? And so I sat in that office and I cried in front of this police officer and he just let me cry. And after that, he was like, we're going to give you the day off of work and go back to your bunk and chill. All right. Cleaned up my eyes, put my tough guy face back on, walked back up to my bunk, told all my crewmates, like, hey guys, I'm not feeling too well, so I'm not going to be going to work today. They're like, all right, bro, we'll see you later. They all left. I immediately went to the weight pile and just beat the crap out of the punching bag and just like, just turned my pain into anger. And then after that, I started getting like fights with people at the fire camp. Like I started like went back to my old behaviors. I started calling people out. Someone would say something I don't like, and you know, fire camp, there's not a lot of COs. It's very easy to be like, let's slide to the handball court and get that in, right? And I became that person again, right? And I started like every person would say something I don't like, but you got a problem, bro? We can go to the handball court and get down. Like, what's up, right? And it started becoming a thing, became repetitious. Every person that says something, I don't care if you're my homie, I don't care if we're friends, like whatever. Like if you say something I don't like, we can fight.
Yeah.
You know? And that wasn't healthy for me, right? But I didn't know how to deal with that emotion. I didn't know how to deal with those feelings. And then I had this great idea that I was gonna start busting some moves and stuff, right? I wanted to make some money, you know, my hustler mentality took over because now I'm in the dark side. That switch done hit, and I was like, you know,
firefighter ain't paying you that much either.
It's not, you know, $1 an hour to risk your life.
Yeah.
You know? And so man, we started running things into the fire camp, and we threw a party, right? We got a duffel bag full of vodka. We handed it out to everyone. All the races and gangs all had their bottles. We had a party. And the next morning, like half the camp got rolled up.
Fire camp was lit, y'all.
Yeah, we was lit. And then the next morning the bus came and like took half of us away, shipped us out to different camps. And so I went to a camp where it was so far away, close to the Oregon border, that we couldn't get our hands on nothing. And it was good for me for a little while. But all those years on the prison yard, I'd actually learned how to make alcohol. And so I had this great idea that I was going to start making my own alcohol. It's crazy because at that camp, I was able to develop another skill set. I became a chainsaw mechanic, right? So I had my own office, my own shop. I'd have music playing in there. It was like so peaceful. I didn't have to go out and cut trees down no more unless it was fire season because I was still a firefighter. But I had my own shop, and I'd just be in there, music going. I'm just taking apart chainsaws, rebuilding chainsaws, cleaning carburetors. Like, it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I could do this when I get out. And I've always been an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Always had that entrepreneurial mindset. I was like, man, I'm going to get out. I had this whole plan. I had a business plan and everything. I was like, I'm going to get out. I'm going to open up a little small engine repair shop. And I'm just going to chill, listen to music, and just fix people's stuff all day and get paid for it. And I was going to just live my good life when I got out. But mind you, I'm still making alcohol and stuff.
Yeah.
And my shop got hit. It got searched. And they found like 4 jugs of Pruno in there.
Pruno!
And so they rolled me up for that, right? And they sent me to another camp. Anyways, long story short, I ended up getting kicked out of the next camp, kicked out of the next camp. Ended up getting kicked out of 4 camps in total, right? The last camp I got kicked out of, it because back to MySpace. I utilized MySpace, and actually it was Facebook now, my bad. I utilized Facebook, and I put a bunch of pictures of myself all ripped and shirtless. And I got a couple girlfriends on there, and I had them start to bring me stuff in. And I got caught smuggling stuff in. I mean, we didn't get caught, but we got, caught. Like, they didn't catch us with anything, but, they knew we were doing it.
Yeah.
And so they ended up kicking me out of fire camp, and I kind of just threw that down the drain.
Conspiracy is just as good as getting caught and doing it.
Yeah. Yes, it is. They just can't charge you with it. But they did charge me for some other stuff. And I did get caught with some stuff. So from there, I got shipped back to the prison yard.
Yeah.
Crazy story, though. I was using, and the people that I run with in prison were not supposed to use. Ended up getting fucked up. My own homies jumped me on the prison yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Packed me out. 3-on-1. One thing about me, though, is I ain't no bitch. Right?
Yeah. Tell this story. They need to hear this.
Right? So, and this is real stuff. Anyone here thinking prison is a spot to go? It is not the spot to go.
No.
I grew up thinking going to prison was going to make me cooler. It was going to make me a badass. It was going to make me like someone in the hood. I can go back like, I did 10 years in prison. I'm someone special. Now, I use 10 years in prison as a tool to show people what's possible, because you can go through hell, you can survive hell, and you can come out the other side and change other people's lives because of your story. This is what this podcast is all about, right? Breaking impossibilities. Right? So here I was, my own homies were mad at me for using drugs, which is totally fair, and I respect that program structure. And basically, they sent 3 goons to come get me. And one of them was my homie. Yeah. And I knew it was coming. And so we're walking the yard, and he's like, hey, bro, I'm going to punch you in the face. The other 2 dudes are going to punch you a couple times. Just fall on the ground, go to the hole, clean your name up. But that ain't me.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, bro, you're going to punch me. I'm going to punch you back. We're going to get busy, and then we're going to go to the hole. And then I seen the two guys coming from the side. It looked like one of them had a shank on him. I looked over, and the dude standing next to me just leveled me. Didn't even see it coming.
Yeah.
Dropped me. Knocked me on the first hit, unfortunately. And the other two, they boo-bopped me. I hit the ground. Now, I didn't know this until we got to the back, right, to the hole. So I go to the hospital. They had to take me off the yard in an ambulance. Ambulance comes. They strap me to a gurney, take me off the yard. They do the smelling salts, all the stuff. They take me to an outside hospital. They had to stitch up my face. I had stitches right here on my forehead. The back of my head was busted open. I was pretty messed up. 2 black eyes. And so then I'm in the infirmary for a few days, and then they send me to the hole, right, ADSEG, and I'm in the back, and they really treat you like animals in prison. Like, they literally send us to our yard. In there is a cage. It's literally a cage, right? Like dog cages. Like, you go to the pound, that's how they treat other human beings in the prison system. Yeah. And so we went out to the yard, and I'm in my cage, and everyone's in their single cages because they don't let you mingle with other people, because a lot of people are either victims or they're potentially a victimizer of some sort of violent offense back there. So they keep us segregated. And so I'm there, and I see the guy that hit me, and I'm like, bro, you fucked me up, right? I'm not even mad at him because I knew I had it coming. Absolutely. Like, it's part of the game, you got to know when you play the game, the game ain't nice to you.
No.
Right?
The game gods are real.
For reals. And they don't play.
No.
So I'm like, bro, you really fucked me up. He was like, nah, man. And this right here, I want y'all to understand this. This is true perseverance. Actually, one of my favorite words is indomitable spirit. Indomitable spirit means you have a never-ending spirit that will not give up and will not stay down. Because what happened was, when he punched me in the face, he knocked me out. And I immediately hit the ground, and the other 2 people hit me about 3 times because they had a directive, they had a purpose they had to serve, and that was to get me off the yard. When I hit the ground, I got back up, 100% unconscious. I stood back up and squared up 3 times. That's what messed me up, is I kept falling down. I kept getting up and falling my face on the concrete. I got up, fall on my face on the concrete. Even completely unconscious, my body refused to stay down. The police had to come and tackle me, handcuff me, put me on a gurney, and take me off the yard for me to stop getting back up. I do not remember none of this. It's only because they told me this story. All those scars on my face was me getting back up, falling back down, because my body would not stay down.
So you whipped your own ass.
I whipped my own ass, right? Yeah. But today, that is a story I tell because that is how I live my life now. No matter what knocks me down, whether I get punched in the face or I fall and bust my face on the ground, because it's part of life, I don't stay down, right? And so what ended up happening is I got sent to San Quentin. Shout out to San Quentin State Prison.
Shout out.
You fucked my life and saved my life at the same time, right?
Be amazed. You'd be amazed at the things that happen to us that actually we think in the moment are like, damn, this is fucked up. But then when we look back on it, it was like, damn, that fucking saved my life right there. Like, whatever it was that was looking out, it actually put me in a position to become the most successful online fitness coach in California.
In the world. What you mean California, bro?
You know what I'm saying? The best online fitness coach in the whole world. And then we think about these things, and a motivational speaker, TEDx talk, like helping at-risk youth. I mean, your passion for single mothers and stuff like that, like helping them because of the things that you've gone through, because of the love for your mother, is just phenomenal, right? And just now, back to San Quentin, fucking your life up, but also saving your life. Now you got your ass whooped, you whooped your own ass, and then now you start to transform into this other person. What was it, that moment where you sat there and you started to think like, I need to do something different? And if you can share with the viewers and listeners about what it is that you had to do to change that mindset and to become who you are today and break those impossibilities.
Absolutely. So the first thing I want to do, it's not just single moms. Don't make me sound like a weirdo, bro. Right? They can have husbands and boyfriends. But, actually, so San Quentin was a fork in the road for me. Right? Yeah. So actually, the crazy thing about San Quentin is San Quentin has the most programs and opportunities for change than any other prison in California, because it has the highest population of lifers, people that are doing life sentences. San Quentin also had the most drugs I've ever seen in my life, right? And so my first year in San Quentin was actually a huge pitfall.
Yeah.
right? I got to San Quentin and I seen all these drugs and all this opportunity, and I had a name that I wanted to fix for the mistakes I had made in the other prison.
Yeah.
And so I dove back deep into criminal activity because I wanted to fix my name. I wanted people to know that I was really with the shit. And I got in a few fights in San Quentin. Right? I did a few things in San Quentin. I started hustling again in San Quentin, and I started using again in San Quentin. And for the first time ever in my life, and the only time ever in my life, I was hooked on heroin in San Quentin. I've never used heroin on the streets. I've only used it in prison.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm a hustler, and if you give me meth, I'm going to sell it. If you give me heroin, I'm going to sell it. But I'm also a drug addict, and if you give me heroin, I'm going to use it. And so I got hooked on heroin. And, bro, that brought me to my knees so fast.
Yeah.
And one day, it was August 30th, 2017. I woke up. I was dope sick. I had raccoon eyes. I was hella skinny, looked like a zombie. And I went to the bathroom and I looked in that scratched ass mirror and I saw a shell of a human being.
Yeah.
Someone I didn't recognize. Someone that I never thought I would be. And I looked at that guy in the mirror and I was like, this ain't who you are. This ain't you, bro. And at that moment, I chose to change my life. People always ask me, like, what made it happen? I don't fucking know. I say, honestly, it was my mom. My mom came into my heart, you know? And this is a crazy thing to say, and it's hard. It was hard for me the first time I said this. I needed my mom to die so that she could help me. And it's crazy to say that, and it sounds weird, but because I talk to my mom daily right now. She's a part of me. Her soul is inside of me. And because of that, I have this insatiable drive that I will not stop. I cannot stop. Right. And so that morning I woke up and I saw myself. My mom was like in my heart and she's like, bro, she didn't say bro, but you know, like, this ain't you. And so there's this guy I always talk about. Anytime I'm on a podcast, I talk about it on the stage often. His name is Fernando. I fucking love Fernando. Shout out to you, Fernando, if you hear this podcast, because I know you listen to a lot of my content and stuff.
We fucking love you, Fernando. For real.
Seriously,
Shout out.
I love Fernando, right?
Absolutely.
And you've heard about Fernando, right?
Absolutely. Shane, Fernando.
Yeah.
Yep.
I talk about the same people, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so
we really rock.
Yeah.
We really fucks with each other.
Yeah.
We really rocks with it. Like from day one, from the NA meeting. And I just, before you go on, like that NA meeting is just like, I remember hearing you share, and I know we're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it because I don't give a fuck. But you shared about prison and like stolen car or something. And I just was like, who the fuck is this guy with this long hair, these fucking jacked calves? Like, who the fuck is this dude, right? Because you're always wearing shorts. And I'm like, bruh, and then I just heard, and then after the meeting, you know what I mean? I'm just big on that. It's just like, what's up, bro? My name is Justin. What's happening? You know, give you a hug. Like, fuck it. Like, because we come from the same background. Yeah. We come from the same thing. And it's so funny that it's not even funny and it's not weird what you said about your mom, because I have the same situation. Yeah. My mom had to die in order for me to change my life, even though I had to go through this addiction, homelessness again, stealing cars, breaking my leg, running from the police. Like, I went like maybe 4 years and just going hard in demon mode after my mom died until I was arrested. And then that's when it started to change for me. You know what I mean? And growing up in a predominantly Black neighborhood and being the only white boy, and then with red hair really didn't fucking help me. You know what I'm saying?
Gingers are black now, though, right?
According to TikTok, right? But like growing up in this Black neighborhood and just running with all my Black brothers and all of that, and being picked on at first when I'm going to school because I'm white with red hair, white privilege, this and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck privilege is. Yep. You know what I mean? I don't even know what that is because I'm sleeping on a couch. I'm barely eating top of ramen at night. My grandma's buying beer and not buying no milk because my mom is in prison. I'm sleeping on a park bench at like 13, 14 years old. Like, what is it with, you know what I mean? Like, white privilege, like, I wish, motherfucker, like, you come into school with Jordans on, you come into school, you got your own room, we come to your house, like, your parents are off in Mexico, Europe, and stuff like that. Like, I've never had to experience. When my mom's on vacation, it's because she's in prison.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's like we really connect. So it's like when you're talking about this stuff, it's like I've lived this with you. I've seen this. We've done walked this life together. You know what I'm saying? And back to Fernando, but shout out to Fernando, man, because you definitely played a huge role in my man's life. And just thank you, man, for breaking Impossibilities, from me, from a Better You Fitness, man. We fucking love you, Fernando. Thank you. But yeah, man. If you remember where you were at, man, let's get
I
back to
do.
it.
It's my life story. I can't forget it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I was, ready to make a change. August 30th, 2017.
Absolutely.
Right. In fact, shout out to Zune. I have August 30th, 2017 tattooed on me. I got this tattoo the day before I started the run with him. Right. At the Santa Monica Pier, because his videographers were pissing me off and I had to leave before I beat one of them up. So I took an Uber, went and got some In-N-Out burger, and I found a tattoo shop and got tatted. Anyways, August 30th, 2017, I walked up to Fernando and I said, hey, bro, I need some help. Now, let me tell you a quick story about Fernando. I hated Fernando. As far as my book concerned, Fernando was a lame. Fernando went to school. Fernando went to church. Fernando went to this little bullshit construction class. Fernando went to NA meetings, AA meetings. I never seen Fernando sell no drugs. I never seen him get in no fights. Nothing. I was like, Fernando, you are lame, bro. Until I needed some help. All right? And I've done a lot of work on myself, and today I realized that I was jealous of Fernando. I was jealous of Fernando because he was going to get out of prison and never come back. And at that point in my life, my goal was to get out of prison, go back to what I knew, and have a shootout with the police because I wasn't willing to do a life sentence. That was my goal at that time in my life. And so I walked up to Fernando. I was like, Fernando, I need some help, man. He's like, I got you, man. I go to an NA meeting tonight. Let's go. He took me to an NA meeting that night, August 30th, 2017. I've been cleaning sober ever since, coming up on 8 years in the next 2 months, right? And my life, that changed the trajectory of my life. Right? And this was the fork in the road I mentioned about San Quentin, because San Quentin had every program available for anyone that wanted to change their lives. I immediately started going to NA. I went to AA. I went to substance abuse classes. Bro, I took a parenting class, and at that point in my time, I didn't even have kids. I took yoga. Bro, here I was with a bunch of convicts doing yoga. I took every class, everything I could to change who I was.
Fuck yeah.
And I spent the last year of incarceration changing who I was so that when I could finally hit the streets, I was no longer the person I went in as.
I did the same fucking exact thing. Going to all the classes, baking classes, parenting classes, any class, anything. I went to church.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter. And I remember I was getting close to getting out, and I've already signed up to go to a rehab center. I've already signed up for, a recovery coach. I've already signed up for all these different things. And court, I think it was a drug court came in, and they're pitching their spiel like, hey, this is drug court. It's a 2-year thing, and you got to be committed. And I raised my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys, one of the deputies was like, Townsend, you're already, signed up. You're getting out, this, that, and the other. He's like, what is it that you want to know about drug court? And I says, well, I want to know about anything that's going to help me change my fucking life. Yeah. I don't give a damn if I'm on probation. I got drug court, whatever, because I know me. And once I hit these streets, it's going to be fucking over. So if I have more strict and structure on me, I'm going to be able to make that change and take that action and execute on changing my life. So...
yeah. And so, I mean, and that's another way that you and I vibe. And that's why you and I are so successful and continue to grow. Whereas most human beings, especially here in America, are stagnant. Yeah. They're stuck where they're at because they will not excel past where they're at. And that's why you and I continue to excel, right? Because I did the same exact thing. See, during my time when I was struggling with my addiction, I actually got caught with a little bottle of heroin, right? And because of that, it wasn't enough for them to give me a criminal charge, but it was enough for an in-house violation and to catch more time. And so when it came time for me to get out, what ended up happening was they reached out to me and they were like, hey, Mr. Casey, we see that you have a history of drug addiction. Like, do you want to go to a program? And I was like, hell yeah, I want to go to a program. They're like, okay, it's like you're going to go to maybe 90 days, maybe 6 months, whatever. I said, sign me up. Sign me up for the program, right? Okay. Now, I grew up in San Jose, okay? Yeah. And in California, when you commit a crime, you're supposed to go back to the county that you got paroled from. And what ended up happening was somehow magically San Jose had no beds available for me. And I went to Hayward, right?
Come on now.
Right? And remember I told you, right? I told you earlier in this podcast that the first time I ever gotten clean was in Hayward.
Yeah.
In fact, my best friend Miles, we lived together, right? In Hayward.
Shout
right?
out.
Shout out to Miles, right?
Let's
We
go.
lived together in Hayward.
Yeah.
And now I'm going back to a program after doing 10 years in prison in Hayward. It's called Men on the Way, and they completely saved my life. Shout out to Brett and Stephanie over at Men on the Way.
Shout out Men on the Way.
Right?
Let's go. Steph and Brett, an absolute amazing program helping men come out of prison and absolutely excel and change their whole entire life. And we have a prime example.
Absolutely.
Fucking
So-
Better You Fitness right here. Let's get it.
So from there, I basically utilized everything that parole could give me until it all ran out. 90 days in that program. I did a year and a half in halfway houses. And during that year and a half in halfway houses, I slowly built myself up. Back to the most people are stagnant and most human beings are stagnant. I was not willing to be stagnant. I got my first job working in a warehouse, stacking boxes and looking for discrepancies in the logos. It was the most boring and tedious job I could ever think of. Yeah. And when our foreman would come around and say, who wants to stay extra for overtime? I would stay till 10 hours, 12 hours. Who wants to come on Saturday? I would work on Saturday because I knew if I could do it there, it'll be easier to do it with something I love. Yeah. And I went from that to bouncing clubs, once again with my best friend Miles, who's out there in SF pushing up on people.
Come on now.
The only person to ever fight me while bouncing a club was a drunk white woman. It's crazy. But what ended up happening is we went from bouncing clubs, right? So I got my first job in the fitness industry, Orange Theory Fitness, also because of my friend Miles, right? And I got this job at Orange Theory Fitness, and I had this conversation with my boss at the time, and I told her, she said, tell me about Paul. And I said, all right, I'll tell you about Paul. I'm a recovering drug addict. I just did 10 years in prison for assault with a firearm. And if you give me an opportunity, I'll be the greatest coach you've ever hired, and I'll make sure that you never forget that. And she said, that's the craziest story I've ever had. I'll give you an opportunity. She said, you have 2 more weeks to finish your personal training certification. I was halfway through. I shut off my phone, and I grinded those 2 weeks, and I finished my certification. I worked for Orange Theory for 3 years, and during the pandemic, the world shut down, the gym shut down, and most people said, oh my God, the pandemic, life is over. Yeah. I said, oh my God, the pandemic, you mean I have an opportunity and some time to do something different? Yeah. And I started a business. I started a business 5 years ago in the middle of a pandemic when most people quit. And I went from training people at parks to training people in my backyard to training people in my garage. I opened a 550 square foot gym. I trained there for 2 years until my lease ran up. I now have a 2,100 square foot gym. I have a total of 72 clients right now. I have a team of 3 that are helping me, actually 4. I just hired another person. I got a team of 4 that are helping me grow my business, not just online coaching, but we do group fitness in Hayward, California, and we support local moms that want to really change their lives through fitness. We don't have you run on no stupid treadmill. We don't have you ride no spin bike. You lifting weights, you getting strong, and you begin healthier for your family.
And you're doing classes at 5 a.m.
Yeah, 5 a.m. and 6 p.m.
And burpees.
And burpees, tons of burpees.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's fucking amazing. And we took a complete transformational story, and we've gone from the mud, from the grips of hell. Like, you're not only a person that survived hell, but you come out of hell carrying other motherfuckers with you. Mm-hmm. And that is the testimony to the man you are today and what you've gone through, right? You run a business, you got 4 employees. I mean, you got probably more clients than you could probably handle, but you still take that on because you want to help and change lives. And that's super amazing. But also, let's talk about some of the other things that you're doing. Like, you got a TEDx talk coming up.
I do.
Like, what the fuck? Let's get it. Like, come on. Like, I know this is something that's been a dream of both of ours, and you're actually about to take this stage, and it's about to be a huge moment for you.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, leading up to, while building this fitness business, I decided that I don't just want to be a fitness coach. I don't just want to own a gym. I want and will travel the country speaking on stages and impacting hundreds of thousands of lives, because if I can stand in a stadium talking in front of 1,000 people and create a ripple effect that help them talk to 1,000 people, I could change more lives than I would just stuck in a gym telling someone to do some burpees.
Absolutely.
Right? And so you and I actually talked about this. We had a conversation, and both of you were like, both of us were like, that'd be so cool to be on a TEDx stage. And that printed into my head. I didn't even really know what TEDx was until you and I talked about it. Right? And then Zune was like, bro, you could do a TEDx talk. That'd be so cool. And then we ran an event. We're like, let's throw our own event. And we threw an event, and it was pretty cool. We had a lot of fun. right? And then when Zoom was going to run across America, let's throw another event, right? We threw another event and supported, raising that million meals for Feeding America.
Absolutely.
And from there, I've continued to push towards getting on the TEDx stage. I've been working really hard. I hired a few people, a few speaking coaches, people to help me build what I'm doing. I've now spoken on several stages. Last year, I spoke at the Power of Voice event in Las Vegas. I did my own event last year. And this year, we're going to do our own event. I landed my TEDx speech. It's going to be in Key West, Florida on August 23rd, which is 2 days before the day I got out of prison.
And 7 days before your clean
7
day.
days before my clean day. And trip on to this. When I got out of prison on August 25th, 2018, I wanted to go on the beach. That's the most important thing I wanted to do. I wanted to jump in the ocean. Well, I paroled it out in Monterey County and the water was way too cold, but I walked on the beach. Last year, I went with one of my clients to get married in Hawaii. I trained her for her wedding. Helped her lose a bunch of weight. She got married in Hawaii. I took my girlfriend to Hawaii, and I walked the beach because she got married on the day I got out of prison, August 25th. This year, I will be speaking on August 23rd at Key West, Florida. And on August 26th, I will also be speaking in Miami at the University of Miami. And I will be in Florida on the beach for August 25th to walk the beach once again.
Are you going to jump in the water?
In Florida in August? Hell yeah, especially because I'll be 6 weeks out from a bodybuilding show because I'll be hella ripped at that day.
Yeah, you are. And you got a bodybuilding competition
October
coming up, right?
3rd, San Jose, California. I'm hitting the stage for my first bodybuilding competition at 40 years old.
Yeah.
Most people take a picture on Facebook like, this is 40, and they're all shot out. I'm going to be like, this is 40. I'm going to ripped as hell.
Absolutely. So this is to you and everybody out there. Like, I don't care what it is that you got going on in your life, what adversity you're facing, it doesn't even matter, because if you can get through anything Paul got through and become the best version of yourself, talking on stages, helping people, talking to kids, running your own fitness center, and then you're on TEDx stages, and then you're 40 years old and looking fucking absolutely jacked. Like, you can't tell me that you can't do anything and that anything is not possible, because for me, anything is possible.
Yes.
And you are a testimony to that. Like, you are a walking anything is possible because you make that shit happen. You say you're going to do something and he makes that shit happen. And for anybody out there, like, we're going to need you to follow, subscribe, and do all of that. But most of all, we're going to need you to take action in your life today to make a difference, to become a better version of yourself. And even if it's just 1% better of doing what you did yesterday, then you're fucking winning. If you're waking up and you're making your bed and you didn't yesterday, you're winning. Like, you got to count those small wins into becoming the best version of yourself, because if you're not doing that, then you're just going to fall into this dark, deep hole of depression, and you're not going to be able to get to anywhere you want to get to. That hole's going to get deeper and it's going to be harder to climb out. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And so, like, and just to close it out, man, I can't share enough about what you mean to me in my life, in my family's life. I mean, like, I'm fucking jacked because of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like, working with you for a whole year, helping me structure my routine in the gym. Because before I was going into the gym and I would just use shit and wouldn't even have a routine. Mm-hmm. Don't even know what splits are at this point, right? But now it's like, I know what leg day is. I know what back and bi days is. Some days it just be back. Some days be bis. Then rest days, and then understanding nutrition. You taught me all of that. Mm-hmm. Like, really, to help me become successful and understand, like, my chest is so ripped from the workout that I did yesterday because of some of the things that you taught me.
I love it.
Actually, all the things that you taught me. Like, to be honest with you, like, I knew how to push shit, but you showed me how to push shit in a certain way, and not even in person, but online.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so phenomenal, right? For the best online fitness coach in the whole world ever, and you continue to keep growing, is legendary. And to have you on here to share the testimony, to understand that, like, you can do anything you put your mind to, right? Nothing is impossible. If you take that word impossible and break it down, it says I'm possible.
Yes, sir.
So again, brother, man, thank you so much. Like, I love you. Like, we're going to kill this year. Like, from backpack drives to speaking on stages. Like, we got one coming up in August, and we are going to make a huge impact. We're going to have every year, it's more and more people, and we continue to help more and more people.
Yes, sir.
So I am so intrigued, and I am absolutely fucking jacked about what we're going to do in the near future. So again, brother, thank you so much and being a guest on Breaking Impossibilities.
My pleasure.